What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube and Rumble subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers, along with KB watchers and all of his followers. They're little, but they're still huge Giants fans, as his poster says in the back right there. That's not even a poster. He's had that for probably longer than he's been alive, to be honest with you. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? I had a feeling for some reason tonight would start off a bit slower. So as you guys are popping in, make sure you hit the like button and share out the stream. KB, man, what's up, bro? It's only been a week since our last episode, but in the past 2 or 3 days, so many things has happened in the NFL.
Yeah, I know. As things are starting to the new league year is happening, next week. So obviously we're gonna get a lot of trades, a lot of releases. People, NFL teams trying to stay under the cap before the new league year starts and try to make their moves as much as they can. So we're gonna see a lot of things happening, man. But this so far has been just a blockbuster type of week. Obviously with Denver and
Well, first,
now with the
if we start in
Commanders.
chronological order, Aaron
Yeah,
Rodgers was the first one
yeah.
that fell.
Right, but I mean, he's staying in Green Bay, so it wasn't even that crazy to me. His contract is insane for a 38-year-old quarterback, but um,
I
you
personally
know,
think he doomed the Packers, but we could get into that.
he definitely did. I gotta check his the contract details, but $50 million a year for a 38-year-old quarterback for 4 years is insane. It's insane.
And
Yeah.
then just a couple hours later, I was so happy it happened on the same day, and a guy in Russell Wilson that has beaten Rodgers a couple times in the playoffs, he took his shine and he got traded to Denver, which was, I gotta admit, I didn't even think about Russ going to Denver at all. I didn't think of it as a possibility, but apparently that's been in talks for a while now before it happened.
Yeah, apparently, I mean, it does make sense too, because if you look at it, especially going back to last year, a lot of people thought that, not including myself, a lot of people thought that Denver was going to be a serious contender last year. Just the quarterback position was a huge question mark. They started 3-0 last year with
They
Teddy
did, yeah.
Bridgewater at quarterback. We were one of their victims, but they started off pretty hot. And they actually had a lot of games. Like, they beat the Cowboys, if I'm not mistaken. Like, they had a lot of games where it looked like they could have been a playoff team. They just need a really good quarterback. And Russell Wilson, if you really want a good quarterback, Russell Wilson's your guy. And in my honest opinion, I think it was a win for both sides. For both sides. And I know a lot of people are saying that Denver gave up a lot, but I think it was worth it.
It was, yeah.
If they honestly think they're going to win a playoff, win a Super Bowl in the 2-year contract that Russell Wilson has left, or maybe even extend them, if they honestly feel that with Russell Wilson, with the team that they have right now, why not give up all those picks and those expendable players like Shelby Harris, Noah Fant, Drew Lock? I mean, well, we don't need Drew Lock there anymore. So, I mean, I thought it was worth it for Denver, and Seattle gets a huge haul. They kind of make up for that Jamal Adams trade. But yeah, I don't know. They're the one that's traded for Jamal Adams. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah,
No,
so well,
yeah.
first off, shout out to Tudo Azuri for the $5 super chat. Of course, we got Yo Nappy, Eric Campion, King Sean. What's up, man? It's been a minute, man. The Washington Commanders
Yeah.
fan in here. Edward Chan. And so let me get the super chat first. He says, Salute Kush, drop by our office to pay our proper respects. And for all Giants fans around the world, slap all the Birds fans out the doors. And Tudo, man, y'all hope that your suspension ends soon. You guys know he plays for his rugby team. He got in a little bit of a scuffle with the opposing team, and the league suspended him for it. So hopefully
Oh, damn.
hopefully that blows over soon, man. What up, Nate? How you doing, bro? Nate was on the call-in show earlier. Kresley as well. So with this Russell Wilson and Denver trade, I completely agree with you. I think both sides came out of it winning because Russell had his worst year last year, and in his worst year, it was his only season being on a team with a losing season. And people forget, I want to say since 2015, honestly, the only reason Seattle had winning seasons was Russell Wilson post 2015, because that's when their defense really fell apart, especially after the 2016 offseason as well. 2016, 17, 18, and 19, and even 20 Seattle Seahawks, all of them had winning records. It was because of Russell Wilson. Make no mistake. So in his 1 year where he kind of, I don't want to say fell off, but he just didn't perform up to his own expectations, they lost. He is that guy. Like, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And it's funny because when he won the Super Bowl, he was more of a game manager compared to what he is right now. But he can definitely take Denver to new heights, man. They're immediately a contender, in my opinion, right there. A playoff contender for sure. Super Bowl contender. We'll see how it goes as the year goes on, because the AFC is now extremely tough for any team that wants to come out there and represent the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, in in response isn't the word, but basically what Seattle got back is completely worth what they traded away in Russell Wilson. Seattle, I think, is making the right move, which is blowing it up because that same day they released Bobby Wagner. I think that they're heading the right direction. You're not going to win with that core anytime soon, so blow it up. Try to get as many picks and capital as you can and try to rebuild from scratch. So we'll see how that goes. So I think both teams came out of it good, man.
Yeah, like I said, I was really kind of shocked of how much I like the trade for both sides because you look at the trade details and Seattle gave up pretty much Seattle gave up nothing and and Denver gave up everything. But you could see the different directions that these two teams are going. They're going in totally different directions. Seattle was high, Seattle was trying to build a dynasty. Now that's over with. They have to try to rebuild again. Denver is now coming back up from those Peyton Manning years and trying to get back to the Super
Speaking
Bowl.
of
So they're
Peyton
in
Manning
totally
years,
different.
the way this team is
Mhm.
built is almost exactly like it was for
Yeah,
Peyton Manning
yeah,
almost 10 years ago.
yeah, and
John
that's a
Elway built the team
mhm.
around the quarterback, signed Peyton. He built the team around the quarterback again and traded for Wilson.
That's a great point. Great that you mentioned that there because a lot of people are talking about, oh, I can't believe that Denver, traded all that for Russell Wilson and, they're taking on his contract for a 33-year-old quarterback. I'm like, yeah, do you guys not remember, when they got Peyton Manning? They didn't trade for Peyton Manning, but it's still the same thing. They still got Peyton Manning and they won a Super Bowl with him, regardless of how he performed in that season because it was terrible. But, you know, the point still stands. If you feel like you have a team that can win right away, it doesn't matter how old the quarterback is. It doesn't matter how many first round picks you're giving up. As long as you feel like you can win now and not have to wait 5 years to do so, then go for it. Go for it if you feel like you can win right now.
And I just want to say, I respectfully disagree with NYG31 here. Unless Wilson comes out and repeats what he did last year, which was a result. Once
He
again,
got hurt.
it
He
was
got
like his
hurt.
one outlier year. He got hurt, and the offensive line in Seattle is trash.
Oh my god, look at
With
their
like,
freaking offensive
oh
line,
my
bro. It's
god, bro,
terrible.
terrible. I
Bro.
don't see that repeating. But unless that happens, then I don't think there's a winner to this side. I mean, I think both
Mhm.
teams got what they were looking for. Shout out to Tudo for another $5 super chat here. He says, now I have more time to work out, get stronger, get faster, and heal with all the bumps and bruises. Come back louder than ever with exclamations. Hey, yo, Tudo, you got it, bro. You better hit that gym, get in whatever training sessions you be doing, and come back and be your team's MVP, bro. That's what I gotta say. There's a line through KB's face when he moves it side to side,
Mhm.
bro. What is that with your camera? Sometimes like I be seeing a
What?
line just coming up.
Really?
Yeah,
Vertical or horizontal?
vertical. Like it
Oh, I
cuts you
don't
right through
know.
your nose. That was kind
Really?
of weird. I just want to say. But getting back to it, obviously, we got to talk about how this affects NFL free agency and more importantly, the draft. Because now Seattle, they didn't have a first round pick. They're now right back at there at number 9 with Denver, one of the many
Mhm.
picks that they got. And I think, I don't know if it should be obvious, but the first thing I thought to myself was they're going to be in the hunt for a quarterback. But now that I think about it more, I'm like, that's very, very possible. They could be looking at Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, but they also could just be looking at BPA because once again, they're blowing it up and they're trying to rebuild. So I don't know. What do you
Yeah.
think this says about the draft for Seattle?
Right now, believe it or not, I'm trying to formulate my first mock draft this year because I haven't gotten around to actually making a mock draft. And right now, I have Seattle taking Charles Cross at 9.
Hmm.
But I feel like you said, I feel like they just need to get BPA that fits their needs. Their offensive line is something they have to learn from their mistake. That's what Seattle really needs to do. The whole reason why Russell Wilson is gone is because Russell Wilson wanted an offensive line, and they just couldn't provide that for him. So if they get a young quarterback, they can go Malik Willis, but I have Malik Willis going ahead of number 9. They could still trade their assets they just got and try to get higher in the draft to get Malik Willis, who I think could fit that offense nicely. Um, but they have to learn from their mistakes. Seattle needs to do so. With their draft picks, they have to build that offensive line. They need to establish a franchise tackle, get some interior linemen in there, and then get their quarterback and develop him from there. They can't be in the same situation with Russell Wilson. Say they get a guy like Malik Willis, and they try to treat Malik Willis like they did Russell Wilson. You're gonna have maybe Malik Willis, learns to fight through it, right? But then you're gonna end up in the same situation that Russell Wilson is, where he wants to leave, and they're not surrounding him with talent, and he's getting killed and injured all the time because of the very reason of why Russell Wilson left. So they have to learn from their mistakes. Seattle could very well get a quarterback here, but I think it'll be a little bit too premature. I think they need to
Even
focus
if
on
they even
building
if
that
they don't get
offense.
a quarterback, just because this move happened and it's on the table, it just means
Mhm.
good news for the Giants because it makes 5 and 7 that much more valuable to teams that were first
Yeah,
considering
yeah.
possibly calling us. Now maybe they're thinking, hey, we gotta call them because we don't know what Seattle is gonna do, and they're on the table for a QB as well. So I mean, if
Mhm.
Seattle's calling you, bro, do you trade down to 9? I would do it. That's like still in the top
Yeah,
10.
like you could still get and you could still get probably a couple of seconds, in those, and they have a
Yeah.
lot of them, right? Because they acquired them. So, I would definitely be to move down 2 picks is fine with me. I mean, who's we would have to go below just Atlanta, and Atlanta is probably in the market for a corner. They're in the market for like interior D
I
linemen.
would
They
even
could
listen.
use
I
an
would. I
edge.
would
They
even
could
do
use
it.
an
I would
edge.
even do it from 5. I'm not gonna lie to you. They'd obviously have to throw in more than they
Okay.
would for
Yeah.
7. But I would go
Right.
from 5 to
And
9 as well.
honestly, that's enticing. Of course we would have to see who's available. Like,
Hmm.
I'm sorry, but if like a guy like Ekem is available, I don't know if
Okay,
I'm
if
just
Ekem and Kayvon are available, obviously you're not
yeah.
doing it. And like those, we
But there
mentioned those two names because those are the
odds
two
are
names
they're
that are
probably
being
going
talked
to
about dropping.
odds are one of them is gonna be available. So if one of them is available, let's say Ekem is available, Kayvon not. I mean, you trade down to 9 from 5. I mean, it's still you could still do it if you wanted to, but I mean, it's something you got to think about.
Hmm.
Something you got. The Giants are. They have a lot of good problems to have. The Giants right now, they're in one of the best situations in the first round of this draft because they have, you know, besides the Eagles have 3 first round picks almost right next to each other, which is good. But the Giants have 2 first round picks, both in the top 10, and they're 2 picks away from each other. Like, you really can do anything with it. You can either sit there and get 2 blue chip guys, or you can trade your 7th or trade your 5th. And you could do so much, man. The Giants are just in a really good position this year, and a really good position for Joe Shane for his first offseason with a new team as GM. So,
Shout out to
yeah.
Edward, Luann, C. Oh, excuse me, C Bands and Sober Party in here. How y'all doing? And you mentioned the Eagles. We're gonna get to a team related to them in a second because the Eagles, one of their 3 first round picks is from the Colts, who gave up a first round pick for a 1 year rental. So we could all safely say the Colts diabolically lost that
They
trade, bro.
botched
That
it.
was
They botched it.
terrible.
Dude, and you know what's crazy? A lot of people were talking about that when the trade happened, and they're like, "Listen, Carson Wentz ain't gonna last for you." And then a lot of people were trying to, come in and say, "Oh, Carson Wentz is great, la la la." And look what happened. Look what happened. And honestly, to be honest with you, I don't think the Colts may have to have some master plan in mind, to try to acquire another quarterback because I don't think Carson Wentz was that bad. I know he has injury problems, but last year he had
If
a
they're listen,
really,
if they're going
really
rookie
decent
quarterback,
season.
bro, the guy that I really see fitting them is actually your guy, Desmond Ritter. But they're gonna need to trade back up into the first round to get him, in my opinion. I mean, he could slip into the second, but especially after the
I think
combine, as
Desmond
usual,
Ritter,
there's a lot of talks
right?
about quarterbacks going a little bit earlier than we expected. Just to be safe, if I'm the Colts, I'm gonna try and somehow, some way, try to get back into the middle of the first round and take him.
I I feel like Ritter.
That's if they go to rookie QB route.
Yeah, yeah. If they go rookie QB route, if they really do rookie QB route, I would really be questioning and head scratching why they did this move anyway.
Hmm.
Because they still gave up a first round pick was it a first round pick or yeah, they gave up a first round pick for
For
Carson Wentz
Wentz,
and
yeah,
they
for the
just let
1 year
him go.
rental.
And then especially in a draft class like this, for the quarterbacks in this draft class, all of them are not ready to start yet. Like the
Hmm.
best one, Malik Willis, who's in my opinion by far the best quarterback in this draft, still is
He
extremely
needs to go to.
underdeveloped.
Listen, man. The thing is that if he goes to a team like Indianapolis, it would benefit him
Mhm.
because he has an offensive line and he has a
And
couple of
Frank
weapons,
Reich,
and he has a
over there,
great
yeah.
offensive mind, right? So like it would benefit him, but they
Mhm.
need to trade up very very high to get him.
But still, and it's even so, like even if you want to get a Malik Willis, who's probably the most day one ready, and that's a stretch, but the most day one ready out of the QB prospects, why do you don't need to let go of Carson Wentz to do that, you know? So that to me is just mind boggling. I don't know. They have to have something in mind for at least like a free agent or a trade of some sort, which I don't know why they want to trade again. I don't know. I'm confused by why the Colts did that. I,
And
I
I wanna
really am confused by it.
real quickly, I do want to put a pause on the Colts one because we didn't even really finish up on the Russell Wilson Denver one. By the
Mhm.
way, Jason King. Bro, I'm sorry, bro. Jordan Love is trash. Let's just get that out of the way. And we didn't even really talk about the Aaron Rodgers one, but that's another. So actually, KB, you choose. I'm gonna pose 2 questions to you. Which one you want to get into first? Jordan Love got to be the worst pick of the century so far, bro. Worst first round pick of the century because it just makes no sense.
I know,
Or
yeah.
or the AFC is way too stacked because the AFC West alone is probably the best division in football off of quarterbacks alone, bro. So which one
Yeah.
you want to go with?
I mean, we could quickly shut down the whole, go through the Jordan Love thing real quick.
Hmm.
I mean, that looking back on it, when it happened in hindsight, without hindsight, when it happened, at the time, I actually didn't mind the move, because
I
they felt
definitely question it because I was like, why in the world you?
I
I
didn't.
was thinking they should
Here's
have
the
drafted a weapon.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't like what they did after. They
Hmm.
drafted a running back after, which made no sense to me at all.
But now
But
it's paying off though because
honestly,
AJ Dillon is a great
AJ
running back
Dillon
over
is
there.
good. Yeah, but he's good, but it's like you have Aaron Jones already. It's like, so and running back, we always talk about all the time. Running backs you can get anywhere, right? So I don't I really question what the move they made after Jordan Love, but I understand the move they made because remember, Aaron Rodgers was talking a bunch of crap, talking about he's gonna leave, he's gonna leave, he's gonna leave, threatening he's gonna leave all the time. And so what as a GM, what do you think? What do you do to prepare for that? You get yourself a quarterback that's developmental that you feel like has a high ceiling that maybe in a couple years could start. I liked the Jordan Love drafting. I just didn't like, how they what they did after that. And on top of that, now they really gave in to Aaron Rodgers and
Yeah,
now
I
they're
was about to
all in on
say
Aaron
like
Rodgers.
all of that just
And
it blows
now
up
it's a
even more in their
waste.
face because
Now it's a waste.
he had
Yeah.
them in a chokehold and they did nothing but continuously do what he told them
Yeah.
to do.
See, I understand, Packer, even other NFL's fans, with their frustration with the Jordan Love pick because they feel like, Green Bay was on a track to win right away and they needed a weapon really quickly so they can try to win a Super Bowl that year. But at the same time, you look at Green Bay, they've had two Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and those two lasted, all the way back into the early 2000s, like 90s. When did Brett Favre when was he drafted? When was he drafted?
Listen, bro, they've had
90,
like
90, 90 something.
three Hall of Fame quarterbacks in a row.
Exactly,
By
in
the
a
way, let me
row.
know
So
which
they try to
lighting
keep
real quick
they try
looks
to
better because I
uh-huh.
feel like the other one was
That's
like kind of too
darker.
warm. This is
That's
darker.
darker.
This is the one that was set up before, but it's a little bit warm, and then this is like super
Yeah.
warm.
Yeah.
I guess I'll stick
You
to
don't
this
you
one.
don't you don't you don't have a light blue? Like the blue is good, but it's too dark. You don't have like a lighter setting?
If I go to the blue again, think if I just gotta
There you go.
remember how many times I increased it because for my videos I gotta decrease it. We gonna get
Right.
into that afterwards, but continue.
You did it 3 times, but
Okay, bet.
anyway, um yeah, like I said, the Jordan Love thing, man. Like I said, I didn't mind it when it happened, just because a team that is traditionally known for Hall of Fame quarterback and kind of continuing the legacy, right? You look at how Aaron Rodgers came into the situation. They didn't need Aaron Rodgers. It was a shock that they drafted Aaron Rodgers because Brett Favre had like 3 years left or whatever the case was, and Aaron Rodgers didn't start till 3 years. I mean, think about it. Aaron Rodgers, one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history, sat for almost like 3 years, 2 or 3 years. So, um, that being said, that I can understand why Green Bay did that. Now it just looks even more questionable, and now it's more of a waste because they gave in to Aaron Rodgers and they gave him $50 million a year for 4 years, and he's 38 years old. Now it doesn't make sense, but at the time I felt like it was okay, and they were thinking about the future more so than the now. That could frustrate fans. I understand that, but I understand their point of view as well. So
And then I will say, yeah, you're right. I do recognize that Aaron Rodgers himself came out and said that the contract details are not true. But they re-signed him. He's not. I don't think he's the type of guy to go for a super cheap contract. So it's still gonna make a
he's
little bit of a
not.
dent.
Yeah.
They have a good amount of people on defense that they need to re-sign. I don't think they're getting everybody back. Um, I just don't think that Packers team is going anywhere anytime soon, man. And then of course now we could get back to the AFC thing. Well, let me read a couple comments here real quick. What up, Miz is in here, bro. He says maybe Seattle offers us a package to come up to 5 and get Malik, and we gonna get to that because we didn't even we haven't really talked too much about the Carson and Seattle trade yet. I mean, the Carson Wentz trade yet, because
Mhm.
that also relates to it as well. Like both of these trades affects like the Giants in terms of trading down. But go ahead, man. With the AFC being stacked, particularly that West division is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this is going back a couple years now. Ever since guys like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert were drafted. Joe Burrow. They're all being drafted by AFC teams. Even Lamar Jackson as well. As much as I like to rag on him, and then we don't know if Deshaun Watson's ever coming back. But The AFC is absolutely stacked, and it's because of the quarterbacks. It's gonna be fun to watch. AFC West is absolutely stacked. I can't wait to see Russell Wilson out there and try to get them. I love competitive divisions because you look at the NFC West last year. You had all these teams. You know, the Rams, the Seahawks. The Seahawks kind of like fell flat this year. A lot of people had high expectations for them, but they were like fourth in the division. Yeah, Arizona, was up there for a while. The Rams obviously won the Super Bowl, and the 49ers made the playoffs as well. Three teams came out in the play, and their division was so fun to watch. The AFC West and the NFC West, man, just the West is absolutely insane.
And now, I
So it's gonna
mean,
be fun to
bro,
watch.
getting out the AFC West is gonna be an absolute just meat grinder, bro. It's gonna be ridiculous. You got four playoff teams in there, and I don't think it's possible for an entire division to go to the playoffs. So it's gonna be tough, man.
Well,
And
with
it's gonna
seven
be
seeds
so
now,
tough.
it's technically possible with 7 seeds,
Yeah,
but
but that's
I
where
don't
we
know
go to
how
the
the
AFC
records
division
shake
as a
out.
whole, and now we're talking about
Yeah.
almost that entire, I mean, conference.
Imagine,
Almost that
dude,
entire
imagine.
conference could go to the
I
playoffs,
don't
man.
I don't think it could happen just for the math. I don't think the math will add up because these teams still have to play each other, so they're gonna give each other L's. So it may not be possible. But it would be fun. It would be hilarious to see all four teams, make the playoffs, and that would be funny to see. But
Matt
yeah,
S. Jackson and Manny, Frankie, and then Sheena. I might pronounce that wrong. We got Brian Dable in the chat. Coach
Mr.
Dabes.
Dable,
Listen, Mr. Big Show.
Dabes. Oh God,
Mr. Big
the
Show,
Big
bro.
Show.
What are you
I
doing in here?
know. Oh
You
God,
should be
he's
looking
the
at
Big
free
Show with a
agency in the
cleaner beard.
draft. Exactly. Listen, let us know who you drafting, bro. We're like a month and a half away, but you could trust me. I'll keep it a secret. I won't tell anybody except like the 30 people watching right now. That's not too many Giants fans. It's not gonna go nowhere. But now let's talk about the Washington football team and Indianapolis Colts trade. They sent Carson Wentz, who once again the Colts gave up a first rounder for. So this is terrible for them in my opinion. They swap mid round picks, and then Carson goes to the Washington Commanders. He's now Commander Carson, and I
Commander
gotta say, I
Carson.
admit that's not a bad
Hilarious.
nickname, but
I
it's just
know.
hilarious to me. He comes back to the NFC East after being gone for just 1 year, and even though technically the Commanders got to upgrade at QB, I don't think it's a massive upgrade. I still think Taylor Heineke, like if they were gonna go from Taylor Heineke to Carson Wentz, I would have just kept Taylor Heineke and try to draft somebody or something like that. I don't know, man. What do you want to talk about it from the Colts angle or the Washington angle first? Go ahead and take it.
This was the complete opposite from what I think about the Denver trade with Russell Wilson. You know how I said it was a win for both sides? I think it was a loss for both sides. Here in the Colts gave up a first round pick and maybe more. I don't know the details. I forgot the details for when the Colts traded for Carson Wentz. But obviously the biggest thing they gave up a first round pick. And then now they go ahead and flip that and get a bunch of second round picks. What was it, like four in total?
I don't know,
Four,
bro.
three or four, three or
They
four
got
second round
seconds
picks in
and
total
thirds
in
or
different
something like
years.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was stupid. I think it was absolutely stupid. And honestly, a team would do that that's looking for all those second round picks. A team would do that that's trying to rebuild. The Colts are in a win now. They have a win now roster, and it's not going to last very long. No win now roster ever lasts long. You have expiring contracts, rookies coming off their deals, and all that. So they really botched it, to be honest with you. Carson Wentz is not a quarterback that can't take you to the playoffs and eventually a Super Bowl. I
Well, let
think
me
he
ask you
can.
this: Do you
I think he
what is
can.
just your opinion of Carson Wentz? Because I think he sucks. I think he's washed. But
I don't
but
think
I was
that.
gonna
I
say
don't
like a
think
lot
that.
of people think he's around average, maybe just a little bit below average. Now let me explain why I think he sucks and he's washed. Because I think last year was his best chance at showing people that he didn't suck and he's washed. Because he went back to the guy that gave him the best season of his career, and like, what did he do? For
He
real, what
had a
did he
really
do?
he had a see a lot of people think that he didn't have a good season. He had a good season.
He had
It's just
a
that
good season, in my opinion, in the situation where he should have had his best season, and now he's going to a
I don't
place where
know.
it's
I
like,
don't know. He's
bro,
going to a
they
new
who is
team.
their
I don't
offensive
know.
coordinator of the Commanders again, bro? King Sean, let me know.
I have no idea.
I don't
I
think
have
he's
no
gonna
idea.
succeed.
But that's the thing. I don't think that's Carson Wentz's problem though. He got traded there. It's not like he chose to be there. But the Colts, in my opinion, I think could not gonna say they were gonna win a Super Bowl anytime soon, but they had a chance to with Carson Wentz. I think Carson Wentz had a really good season last year, and everybody kind of just it's overshadowed by all the gaffes that he had and freaking all those interceptions he threw straight to a defensive lineman. He had stupid moments, don't get me wrong. And Carson Wentz has always been that kind of quarterback, even with the Eagles. But I think he has the talent. He gave them their best chance, especially going into next year. I mean, next year, what the hell are you gonna do? Get a Desmond Ridder, get a Kenny Pickett, and see where you can go from there with a rookie quarter. I just don't understand it. I don't like it. Maybe they go after a Teddy Bridgewater and look and use him as a bridge, and then get a try to get a Bryce Young, but they'll have no chance of doing that with the draft position they'll have next year. I don't know. The Colts screwed that up royally. And then you look at the Commanders. I hate saying that. Oh, God. You look at Washington, and Washington, there are a bunch of reports over the past couple of days saying that they're looking for a quarterback. What was the term that they used in quotes? It was like a long-term quarterback. They were looking for a long-term answer at quarterback. How was Carson Wentz your conclusion? Despite what I said about him and the Colts, I feel like the Colts are a win now team. That's why I feel like it doesn't matter if Carson Wentz is a long-term answer for the Colts. It doesn't matter because I feel like they're a win now team, similar to what I think about Russell Wilson going to Denver. But if you look at the Commanders, some people, oh my God, I saw on NFL Network that they believe Washington. Why does everybody drink the Kool-Aid on Washington like they did last year, and they're doing the same thing this year? Like they're going to go to a Super Bowl, and their defense is so great. They were literally the worst defense last year in the NFL, and somehow they think Carson Wentz gives them that much of a better shot. I think the Commanders screwed up bad too.
Let me pause you for a second because we got Edward Chan in chat putting words in my mouth. I never said his production sucked. I said he sucked. But if we want to go off production, because for a lot of people, y'all be taking stats at face value, right? You want to say 27-7 makes him a good quarterback. I don't believe so. It's good production. But if we want to talk about a good production from a quarterback that sucks, how about we look at Big Ben? Big Ben just had 22-10. That's not terrible. It doesn't mean that he's a good quarterback in his last year. In his second to last year, he had 33-10, which is even better. That's actually really great production. Are you going to say in 2020 that Big Ben was a great quarterback? No, because we know that's not true. You know who else had really good production? And we're going to talk about this man a little bit later in the in this stream. Somebody who had good production at one point in their career was a guy named Mitch Trubisky. I think he was 24-10. Like, that's good production. It doesn't mean that he's a good quarterback. It just means that he had good production. But go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
But I like Carson Wentz's, like, for the Commanders, I think it's such the wrong move. And here's the thing. It's not like the Commanders gave up a lot, right? They gave up a lot of second-round picks. I don't know in which years. I think they were just over the span of 2 years. They gave up all those second-round picks. But I mean, it's not a lot, but at the same time, you out here saying that you want a long-term answer at quarterback. Carson Wentz gets hurt like every other play.
Also, one thing you definitely got to bring up, King Sean's been bringing it up a couple times, as he is a Washington Commanders fan.
We weren't close. What?
They're taking on his entire contract, especially for this year at least. They're paying this man $28 million, bro. That's way too much.
Mm-hmm. I need to fact check this defensive stats. Washington, they were literally giving up 30 points a game. So I don't know where King Sean is saying they weren't close to the worst defense last year. Let's see. I need to see. I'm not gonna keep you too long. All right, I can't even read all that. They were definitely a bad team this year, as far as defense goes. And they were supposed to be the best defense in the NFL last year. A lot of people said they're going to be the best defense in the NFL last year, and they severely underperformed. Severely. And I'm trying to look up the stats here as far as, like, in the league. I don't know why they don't do it like that anymore. I don't know why they don't put it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Washington has a terrible defense, despite the names that they had, okay? Washington had a terrible defense, and I don't think Carson Wentz is going to be able to carry them any more than like a Fitzpatrick could have done. Maybe I'm lying about that. Maybe Carson Wentz wins you a little bit more games. I don't think Carson Wentz is going to take you to the promised land, and you guys are not a quarterback away.
What up, man? I just want to give a shout out to Manny because he was on here last night, and another person I definitely want to get into is John Feliciano, who just got cut from the Bills. And was it last night or last week, man? We talked about John Feliciano being an option for the Giants because he could be a cap casualty for the Bills. And guess what? That's what we're seeing. Well, both Manny's in here, Madrigal and Brito. And now, bro, you gotta talk about it from the Washington point of view, right? So you've been talking about it from the Indy point of view. Now, with the Washington point of view, specifically with them taking on his contract and whatnot, where does that leave them for this season? Like, I don't. It's obviously still a little bit too early, but like, where could you possibly see them going with this?
Oh, Washington?
Yeah, like what are they? Are they gonna be a 500 team or something? Is he?
That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't know where Carson Wentz is gonna take them that they aren't already at. Like, okay, where did
And
Washington
KB,
go
that's
last
what I
season?
was saying
7
when
and
when I
10?
or that's what I meant when I was saying if they were going from Taylor Heineke to Carson Wentz, I would have stuck with Taylor Heineke because you could still be a 500 team with Taylor Heineke, and with Carson
Yeah,
Wentz,
yeah.
I honestly don't know if he's gonna be better than a 500 team.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if Carson Wentz is that much better. Listen, I don't know. Carson Wentz, man, he's so hard to evaluate because especially when he was in with the Eagles in their Super Bowl year, he was playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and then he just like
Is
made
that
stupid
injury? Like
mistakes,
people really forget, man.
injuries. Yeah.
That one injury, the same year he was about to win MVP, really did him in.
Yeah.
That he came back and he was never the same. And one of the reasons people used to say it was because he didn't have Frank Reich. But once again, he went to Frank Reich and he didn't have a season close to what he had in 2017, which is why I'm saying it's his body, man. It's that injury.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how the Commanders think that Carson Wentz is going to get him there. And then especially when they say long-term answer, I don't know if that's the case at all. I really thought they could have stuck with it with Heineke a little longer and see where they can do at quarterback later on, or trade for another quarterback. You know, I know they lost out on the sweepstakes for Russell Wilson, but try
And I
again,
gotta feel
try
sorry
again.
for Commanders fans, man. They went from
Russell Wilson
Wilson
hype.
to Wentz. That's just crazy.
Yeah, very demoralizing to say the
Extremely
least.
demoralizing, man. And King Justin in here as well, talking sports with Landon. What's up? How y'all doing, vets? I guess all I have to say is that how does this affect Washington's plan? Because I mean, they were another team I would have slotted in for taking a QB a couple of times, but now I guess they would go offensive
They go
lineman.
wide receiver.
Oh, you
They're
think
gonna
they
go
go
wide
wide receiver?
receiver.
I'd
Yeah,
say
if
offensive line, but wide receiver, yeah.
they could go offensive lineman, but they desperately need weapons over there, and Terry McLaurin can't be their only guy over there. I mean, De'Ami Brown, okay, fine, but if you get a guy like Carson Wentz in there, you have to get him more weapons. Like if you're gonna go all out and say Carson, well, you want Carson Wentz to be your long term answer, you got to provide him with some weapons. And obviously, the offensive line route is there, but if a guy like okay, let's say let's be real. At 11, all three of the top tackles going to be gone. You're looking at Trevor Penning if you want, at
Well,
11,
the way
and I don't think
people
you want to do
and
that.
not even just people, but the way they talked about this man Charles Cross at the combine was kind of crazy to me. It even seems like even there, some of them have him dropping out the top 10, which I don't know. Maybe
That's weird because he had the best combine out of the tackles in my
he had
opinion.
one of the best combines. Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't know what it is with the Charles Cross slander right now, but
yeah.
a lot of people, not just fans,
Me
but some
personally, I
scouts are
think he
just
had the
not
best.
feeling him.
Me personally, I think he had the best combine of the tackles.
Hmm.
Me personally, and then I think Penning really improved too. But I don't think Penning's going to be drafted that high just based off his combine. But if you weigh out BPA versus value, or position of need, I think they go wide receiver here, man. Try to get themselves another outside wide receiver to help out Terry McLaurin. A guy like Garrett Wilson may be available. A guy like Drake London is a guy I really like that people are sleeping on. But they need to get some more weapons in there for Carson Wentz to throw to, man, because he's not going to be able to throw it to Terry McLaurin all the time.
And then, I mean, I feel like we've covered everything about that trade, to be honest. So I do want to shift into a little bit more Giants free agency news. What the three players my video was about today. Let's start with the first one being Evan Ingram. Um, Evan Ingram, I feel like is set to be gone from the Giants. The way the tight end market is right now, at least based off of what the Panthers gave Ian Thomas last week, which was a pretty good contract. Let me pull it back up actually because Ian Thomas, yeah, he's more of a blocking tight end than a receiving tight end.
Mhm.
But the contract they gave him versus the production he gave, I was just like, well, I was a little bit blown back. And then of course, a couple guys
Is
got
that
franchise tagged as well.
that's the question I had. Is that incentive based?
Let me see. I'm trying to
That
pull it up
huge
right now.
contract that I wouldn't say it's a huge contract, but I heard that people. I heard that they kind of formulated it the same way that Kyle Rudolph contract was, and Kyle Rudolph's contract, if I'm not mistaken, was kind of incentive based as well. No.
So he got a 16.5 with 8 million in guarantees. So about half of it is guaranteed.
Okay.
So I mean, just based off of that, and then I think Mike Gesicki got franchise tagged, right? I gotta double check that real quick.
Mm.
Did he get franchise
Yeah, he
tagged?
did. He did. He did. He
Yeah.
did.
So like a lot of these things are pointing towards Evan Ingram in this tight end market is gonna garner a little bit more money than I guess was initially expected. All that means for us is that we potentially get a better comp pick. Like,
Mhm.
listen, I want somebody to go out there and give this man a bag, bro. Give him like $10 million a year, and we very well may get a fourth or third round comp pick. How do you feel about that? And by the way,
Uh,
King Sean, I literally tweeted that. Yeah, the team I feel like he should sign with, I don't know if he will, is the Denver Broncos. They just in that Russell Wilson trade gave Noah Fant to the Seattle Seahawks, so they're kind of missing a starting tight end right now. And in Denver, he fits in really well. I feel a lot of the problems with Evan Ingram is mental and pressure, and he's not going to be the first option over there. He's going to be like the third or fourth. He's going to have a really good quarterback thrown to him. He has a really good defense on that side. He's just going to let's change the scenery and a way better team that the Giants were. So I feel like it makes a lot of sense, but we'll see.
yeah, but let me see here. What were we talking about again?
Evan Ingram.
Oh yeah, Evan Ingram. Um, what's the threshold for to get a comp pick?
I don't think there's like any type of certain threshold specifically. It
Yeah,
would be compared to whatever else the other people at the position signed for, I'm pretty sure.
no, the threshold is money is based on money. That's why that's why Dalvin Thompson we weren't able to get anything too high for him. I think it's all based on how much he's getting paid a year, or his contract or
There,
whatever, and
no,
that
what
kind
I'm
of.
saying is there's not a set threshold. There's not like a
Oh,
certain number
okay.
that you got to
Yeah,
hit.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm asking, but okay. But I don't think we're gonna get too much for Evan Ingram on it because I don't think he's gonna be paid a lot. I know he's gonna be the best tight end available. It doesn't mean he's gonna get paid
I don't know
a
if
huge
Evan
amount.
would be the best tight end available.
Yeah, I
I'd
mean
still put an old man
because
Gronk ahead of him.
I don't know if Gronk is good. I don't know if Gronk's gonna play anywhere else that Tom Brady's not. Honestly, I don't think he's gonna play anywhere else. But Evan Ingram's gonna be one of the better options, obviously, with most of the tight ends, the better tight ends being franchise tagged. And but still, I really don't think just because he's one of the best available doesn't mean that anybody's gonna throw him money. And then I don't think we're gonna get a big comp pick from him. Honestly.
Duran, I'm gonna say about 5. But actually, no, I take that back because, like I said, he won't be pressured like that. And then, Lord Vintage, I agree with you. I think that if we're looking at like a cheaper veteran tight end to add, Mo Alley Cox is going to be somebody the Giants should look at. Very underrated
Mo Alley
option.
Cox,
A
yeah.
lot of
Mhm.
experience under his belt. That dude is somebody that we should look at. And
Mhm.
then now
Mhm.
shifting to the guy that we signed, Matt Gano from the Atlanta Falcons. We spoke about him a little bit before we went live, so like you could just regurgitate that. I feel like that would be a good start. We
Mhm.
signed him tackle from the Falcons. He's been with them for about 3 or 4 years. He was an undrafted free agent. He does have a like legitimate injury history to his name, but he also does have good upside to his name. So the way I'm looking at it, depth piece. Go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a depth piece, and I definitely think it's a guy that obviously, if any of our linemen go down, Andrew Thomas has injury history. We don't really know who's going to be at right tackle, but he could definitely come in. I definitely I wouldn't say I would trust him all the way, but from what I've seen from him, I do like what I've seen from him. We talked about it earlier before we went live. I saw Bobby Skinner posted kind of a all 22 kind of camera view of him going against Joey Bosa, and I actually really liked what he did it versus Joey Bosa. Had some wins, had some losses, but I think fought pretty hard, and I would be comfortable seeing him, filling in if he needed to fill in. So I think it's a good depth signing, and I think it's a good way to start off the offseason.
Yeah, we need not just an entire starting offensive line, but we do need guys behind him. The way behind those guys. So I'm very glad that we're getting that done even before technically free agency began. As opposed to what we did last year, we're scrambling to do it like before the season begins. It was crazy. So I'm looking
Hmm.
forward to that a lot. And he also has potential to kick inside as well. I think he played guard for the Falcons at 1.4 starts under there. just a good move. I really hope that he's not the guy we're looking at to be our starting right tackle going into the
I
season because I
I
will be
I don't
very,
think
very
so.
angry.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna pull a Dave Gettleman there and just sign a random dude and throw him out there on the offensive
Cam
line.
Fleming.
I don't. Yeah, Cam Fleming. Yeah. So. Mhm.
And then yeah, Durand, that's the next guy, the Buffalo offensive lineman, John Feliciano, inside offensive lineman, I believe. Like I said, Manny Madrigal brought him up last week on the Collins show, and we said the same thing. Manny said he could potentially be a cap casualty for the Bills. That's exactly what happened. He said the Giants could take a shot at him, and then I went and I looked at his contracts and his age. He's past that age where he's gonna get big contracts. He already had two big paydays in his career, and I feel like he could potentially sign here on a cheap deal. Would be definitely somebody that I would start on the inside of our line, and also a veteran presence on that line, which is something that we haven't had since we let Kevin Zeitler go. I think that would be important as well. So I'm definitely keeping my eye on that, and of course, the
Mhm.
Joe Shane and Brian Dable connection.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
Nothing to add.
I said agreed.
Okay, moving on to Mitch Trubisky. This guy's rumors to the Giants has only increased in the past week and a half, I want to say, especially after that Adam Schefter podcast interview. Just what are your general thoughts on Mitch Trubisky to the Giants, and that it's looking more and more likely that he might end up here.
Yeah, I was I was saying, man, if Mitch Trubisky winds up being our starter for the 2023 season, 2022 season, I'm already looking to 2023 because we already seen what Mitch Trubisky is. Okay, let's be real. We've seen what he is. And the only reason why I will be paying attention to this year with Daniel Jones is because he's still coming out of his rookie contract. We're still waiting for him to bloom, right? We're still waiting for Daniel Jones to show something that we thought that he can be for ever since he was drafted. But if he winds up not doing that and he gets beat out by Mitch Trubisky, I don't see a point. I don't see a point because we know Mitch Trubisky's not the future. At least with Daniel Jones, we're kind of reserving a thought that maybe he could still be the future. Mitch Trubisky, I don't care if he lights it up this season. He's not the future. So it's like I'm already looking at Bryce Young. I'm already looking at CJ Stroud. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at Mitch Trubisky as a bridge quarterback, if anything. Just like
I
how
mean
a lot of
that's
people
that's
had.
that's how I'm looking at
Right.
DJ right now. Yeah,
Yeah, and that's exactly how I'm looking at DJ. But at least with DJ, we drafted him. We waited for him to bloom. I guess we're still kind of holding that kind of thought that maybe he can still bloom and still pause. I don't feel like he's going to be a franchise quarterback. But if he lights it up this season, then we have a question. But with Mitch Trubisky, I don't think Joe Shane would be stupid enough to sign Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky has a great year and then re-sign him, extend him for big money, and skip out on a great quarterback class next year. I don't think that
I
that
don't think that would happen.
that
And,
could happen.
and what I would say is my worst nightmare to come true would be that Trubisky somehow has a really good season and the Giants don't take a quarterback because if that happens, bro, I'm
Mhm.
done with the team. I'm done with the team.
I
Listen,
feel
but
you.
in all honesty, and if in all realism, I guess we should say he is gonna be brought in here, if he is brought in here, it's gonna be specifically to challenge Daniel Jones, and he
Yeah.
is definitely somebody that could challenge Daniel Jones, and there's a fear of him winning that starting spot for a reason, which should speak to a lot of fans that are kind of against me when I said that I'm kind of done with DJ. Like, yeah, I'm still giving him a chance. But the fact
Mhm.
that Trubisky could come in here and I could realistically see him winning the starting job should tell you where we are with our
I
starting
know.
quarterback position.
I know. We are going to be laughed at so much next year. It's
Yeah.
going to be
But
funny.
listen, when he gets hurt, just like Lord Vincent said, because it's a guarantee at this point, this man goes out once a year around week 9, 10, 11, 12. Once that happens, we're in a way better spot than Mike Lennon. He's going to be, just like he was last year, the best backup quarterback in the league.
Oh God, Mike Glennon. Are you still under contract with us?
No, pretty sure it was a
Oh,
1 year
okay.
deal. Or even if he
Okay.
isn't, he's gone, bro. He's gone. There's no way he's there.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Oh man, it's just it's a bad situation, man, with the quarterback situation. Because like you just said, if Mitch Trubisky, the fact that we even think about Mitch Trubisky possibly winning the job over Daniel Jones just tells you everything we need to know about this quarterback situation we have right now, and it's not good, man. It's just not
So,
good.
so that's where I ask you with the backup QB position, right? I guess keeping Mitch out of mind because we do need an upgrade at that spot. Like that's what our question. Who are you even looking at? Like just like I said, keep Mitch out of mind. But we do need somebody there. DJ goes out every year. he gets
Mhm.
injured. And Mike
I
Glennon was just too terrible to be our
I
backup
I
quarterback.
I honestly think if we wanna be, team friendly with contracts, I think Davis Webb is fine. I think Davis Webb is fine at being quarterback too. I really
He's
think
like on
that.
the same level or worse than Mike Glennon.
I don't think he honestly, I like Davis Webb. You're talking to the wrong dude because I loved Davis Webb, okay? I
Well,
like
you
Kyle
gotta
Lauletta
tell me
better.
what about him is an upgrade from Mike Glennon.
I don't think it matters. I don't think it really matters. And first of all, let's be real. Mike Glennon could even complete a pass here. Okay, Mike Glennon can't complete a pass. He sucks. Okay, but the thing is with Davis Webb, even going back with when he was with the Bills, in preseasons he was doing well. Even with us, he was doing well in preseason. I could see Davis Webb just coming in, filling in if he needed for a couple games. Much better than a Jake Fromm would or a Mike Glennon would. And it's not like I don't care. I don't care. It's not like this team is in a position where we need a backup quarterback to help, if Daniel Jones goes out because this team has a chance of winning. I don't think this team has a chance of winning even with Daniel Jones in the lineup. So it doesn't matter who's the backup quarterback because the backup quarterback would have to be better than Daniel Jones if I'm thinking that a backup quarterback is going to have give us a chance of winning because I don't think Daniel Jones really gives us a great chance of winning. So I'll be real with you with that one. So
All right, so I am not definitely looking towards Davis Webb. This is what I'll say, and I see Durant mention this man's name. I'm like, if we're gonna get a guy like Mitch Trubisky that could legitimately take the job from Daniel Jones, how about we get somebody that I believe is better, and let's just go and get Marcus Mariota. I feel like he would be somebody I'd rather have here than Mitch Trubisky, if like as somebody that could legitimately beat DJ out. But as a backup option, I mean, I don't know, Tyrod Taylor, maybe like what is even the backup quarterback market looking like? That would be a great question.
I have
Um,
no idea. I have
Durant
no
said,
idea.
"What if Trubisky is the next Kurt Warner?" In what sense, bro?
What if Trubisky is next? Because he got cut from a team and then brought onto another team and he's gonna win a Super Bowl. No, it's not gonna
If
happen.
I mean,
It's not
if
gonna
that
happen.
happens,
It's not gonna happen.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Oh man,
Webb
yeah,
has a
it's not gonna
shorter neck.
happen.
You read about that, Sedansman. Ramon says
Yeah,
Trubisky will be
that's what I
offered a
just laughed
one-year
at.
deal.
That's what I just laughed at. He said, "Why have a shorter neck?"
And then, oh, it is
That's
a
funny.
draft question here. Interesting draft question. Out of Alec Pierce, Dontario Drummond, and John Michie, who do I like the most in the third round range? I would say Alec Pierce because I believe he could even go in the second round range. Cincinnati had a
I
lot of good
ha-
players. I've said that a lot of times, but the Bearcats had a lot of good players on their roster this past year, and Pierce was one of them, man.
I haven't looked into those wide receivers yet, but the only one I have to is John Mechie, and I really like John Mechie. I think he's underrated for real.
Hmm.
So I don't know, and I also think Jameson Williams is a little underrated for real too as well. But I think I could see why they don't like. He's coming off an injury as well, but I maybe because people just view him as a slot guy, a smaller slot guy. But there are plenty of those type of guys in the league that dominate and are drafted at a high level. I like Jameson. I like those Alabama receivers this year, and I think they're extremely underrated. I think any team that ends up with them, no matter where they draft them, is going to get some good players. So I don't know too much about Ontario Drummond. I don't know too much about Alec Pierce. Where's Drummond come from? What school?
I got you right now.
Because the Drummond sounds familiar. And I know about John Mechie.
Oh, he's Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. That's why I know about Drummond. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't know too much about those two players, so I'm not going to speak on it. Act like I do know about them, but I know about John Mechie, and I like John Mechie.
And then I'll say this since we got to the draft, I want to shift here anyway because just give me your thoughts on the NFL Combine, man. Because I watched the NFL Combine this year. I watched reactions on Twitter. I've been going off on Twitter. Like, I've been defending certain players, talking about how certain players are overhyped. And I'm just like, with each year, my respect for the Combine goes down more and more. I don't know if you have a similar experience or whatnot, but just give me your thoughts on it.
I I wouldn't say my respect goes down from it. I just think people just need to be cautious of what the combine really is. It doesn't tell you how good of a player somebody is. It really doesn't. Like you can look at a guy like I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to speak any bad about any prospects, but okay, Ekem. Ekem had a bad combine in my opinion. Ekem did not have a good combine at all. He was jittery. He looked nervous. The drills he wasn't running right. He's running into the coaches, in the drills. He did not have a good combine. But does that mean that I'm gonna have Charles Cross? And Charles Cross had a really good combine in my opinion. He moved extremely smooth. We all knew his footwork was great in the combine, but is he the top tackle? No, I think Ekem. Well, obviously Evan Neal is, but out of the guys that actually were in the combine, I think Ekem was still the better guy. They're the better prospect. I think he's going to be drafted higher than a guy like Charles Cross or Trevor Penning. Even Trevor Penning had a better combine than Ekem. But doesn't mean that Ekem is not any more of a better player than those two players. I think he's a better player than them. The only problem is the combine is not to display how good of a player you are, it's how good of an athlete you are. And athleticism can go a long way. The only reason why combines exist and why coaches love it and scouts love it is because basically coaches and scouts and GMs are looking at which players that they can fit in their systems, which players that they can mold into their own. They're looking at a bunch of prototypes. If you just like you go to a shop and I'm trying to word an analogy off the dome here, but go to any type of store where you can modify something like a car shop or whatever, right? You buy a car and you don't just buy a car just for what it is. You buy a car for what you can do with it and all the modifications you can bring to it. But of course, the base specs of the car is something you're looking at: the horsepower, the top speed, all those different types of things. And that's exactly what the combine is. And it's not to display how good of a player you are. It's just pretty much to display how good of an athlete you are and how well you could probably adjust to a certain system that a GM or coach or scout has in mind. And
I,
that's really what it is.
I completely,
Like Durant
yeah, go ahead.
Osman puts it perfectly. The game tape over combine
I
all day game.
completely agree with you.
Yeah.
And let me see if there's anything that I do need to read here from the chat. Ramon says the Giants have to be under the cap. All right, we'll get to that in a second because we briefly shifted to the combine and the draft here. Of course, game tape is over combine. And every time I see fans on Twitter, on YouTube, just on any type of social media, any type of place where they have an outlet, talking about these players that just sort of blew up after the combine, I say to myself, please go. You don't even need to watch film if you can. If you don't have the time, go read somebody else's thing on it, which I normally wouldn't recommend to somebody that is trying to watch film on their own. But if you don't got time, all right, go read somebody's prospect report on them, because the combine is a tool that's just used to solidify where these rankings are. These teams have scouted these guys for the entire year, and in fact, for some of them, for several years. One athletic show out isn't going to change that much of where they have these guys ranked. It's going to
You'd be
only help to
surprised. So
solidify it.
I completely agree with you, but you'd be surprised with some of these draft analysts like Lance Zierlein, who like freaking drinks Kool-Aid to the max on players from NFL Network. And some people are fooled by that. Some people are fooled by a great combine. You can go back years, and I always blank out when I'm on live, but you can go back years about combine warriors just falling flat when they get into the NFL. Like people that didn't have a name got their name from the combine and wound up being just as bad as their game tape showed because everybody's just drinking the Kool-Aid on the combine. So
And then I
and then
wouldn't. So I have two players to use. I put it in my video on Monday. I think. I mean, yesterday, Tuesday. These weren't players that fell flat, but it was players that got a lot of hype after the combine, and it didn't necessarily show that in the draft, or well, at least one of them, the Tristan Wirfs, right after the combine. Everybody and their mother was talking about him as the number one tackle. Every single fan was saying he's the number one tackle off the board. Even some guys that work at networks like NFL Network and ESPN had him being the number one tackle. Guess what? At the end of the day, he still ended up going as the fourth tackle off the board, right?
yeah,
Despite all that combine hype.
yeah.
And then this is a false narrative that I had to disprove. People also love to say that the reason Josh Allen went in the top 10 was because of the combine, but that's false because so many mock drafts had him going number 1 and number 2 overall a month before the combine happened.
Yeah.
So like in general, just the effect of it is super overrated. And once again, game tape over everything, man. Look at Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd had a terrible 40 time. Everybody that watched him know that that's not representative of how fast he is.
Right. And what was his 40?
He was like a 4.7. I was like, that's not that is not how fast he is in game,
yeah,
bro.
there was another guy, Kyron Williams, the running back from Notre Dame. He's a freaking little like bowling ball, little speedster bowling ball. Reminds me of like a Maurice Jones-Drew type guy. He ran a 4.740. Cooper Kupp ran a 4.740. Okay. 40s are not. I've tweeted about this. 40s are not for everybody, dude. The whole stance and stuff. If I ran a 40 a couple of times, and I suck at running 40. My stances are all off, and my burst is completely trash. But if I line up as a wide receiver, I think I'm faster lining up as a wide receiver than I am in a freaking 40 stance. But 40s are not for everybody. These drills are not for everybody. Sometimes like Ikem is a great example. Ikem, in my opinion, I think he got nervous. I think Ikem got nervous. The lights were on. Everybody was watching him. It just looked like he was nervous. His feet were really like jittery, and he covered no ground. He was running into the coaches in the drills. You know how when the coach goes like this, which direction to go? He went the wrong direction, like freaking ran right into the coach. Ekem had a terrible combine, but I don't think anything wrong of it. Some people just don't perform well at the combine. Cooper Kupp did great in the route running drills. He's one of the better route runners in the league. Was great in the route running drills in the combine, but ran a 4.740. I mean, freaking people were comparing, like said that our fullbacks are faster than him. So and obviously that's not the case with Cooper Kupp because he burns people in the NFL. So it's the combine just isn't for everybody, and sometimes the combine works out well for players that aren't that very good that are just more athletic.
Hmm.
Look at the guys that were at the top of the 40 times this year. Are they going to go top of the draft? No. These are guys that are going to go freaking third, fourth round. They're
Let's
just
talk.
fast.
Let's
They're
talk
track
about a
stars.
guy that, like, the whole reason I brought this up in the first place. Trayvon Walker has been getting way too much hype. This man is overrated at this point. It's only been a
Thank
couple days,
you.
but he's overrated,
Oh, Kush, thank you.
bro.
I got into
I
a
feel
Twitter
bad saying it
war about
because
him.
before the combine he was perfectly rated, but after the combine, and a lot of casual fans expose themselves, and a lot of people that claim to watch tape and Gameful expose themselves when they move this man up to like edge 3, edge 4. And of course, there was a crazy takes in a couple articles that said he should go above Aiden Hutchinson and Kayvon, and I was like,
Oh
y'all on
God.
crack, bro.
Oh my God. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Kush. I always like when I do when I do all my scouting and stuff like that, I always make sure if I'm too high on a player, I need to nitpick and try to look at what I don't like about a player because there's no such thing as a perfect prospect. There's no such thing at all. Aiden Hutchinson even has his faults. Evan Neal has his faults, and they're top of the draft, right? There's never a perfect prospect. So if I'm too high on a player, I'll always look for nitpicky negatives. If I'm too low on a player, I'll look for something to nitpick that's a positive because I don't think every player, if you're playing and you're an NFL prospect, you're obviously doing something right. So I'm always really looking at a prospect. Trayvon Walker, man, it was so hard for me to look for a positive with this man. I said, how is this guy a first round prospect? I mean, I watched 4 games. I kid you not. 4 games coming out with the same conclusion than when I came out of the first game with. I was like, damn, this guy leaves so much to be be desired. It's
Literally, the
unreal.
only reason people are
Unreal.
talking about him is because he had a
Athleticism.
great athletic showing. Once
Yes.
again, is what the combine is purely just to show how athletic you are. And yeah, at his size, 272, he's a good athlete. He ran a nice 40 time. He had great shuttle movement and whatnot.
Mhm.
Bro, on tape, this man is running around. That's it. He's just running
Running
around.
around,
He got
getting
no pass
bullied.
rush moves, bro. He got no
No
pass
pat.
rush moves.
Thank you. Because I got into a Twitter war a couple of days. I don't know if they were Georgia fans. I don't know how they found me because they don't follow me. But I got into a Twitter war with like 4 people, bro. Just all like commenting at the same time and coming at me and like retweeting me and stuff like that about Trayvon Walker and talking about how, oh, well, look at what Daniel Jeremiah says about Trayvon Walker and his pass and how strong he is. Because I said he lacks game strength because he's strong. He looks like he's strong. He has strong hands. But just because you have strong hands and violent hands doesn't mean you have hand technique. Doesn't mean that at all. And I explained the difference
It's the
between that.
same thing with just
He
because
has
you might be
strong
a muscle
hands.
guy don't mean that you're necessarily strong.
Exactly. Exactly. He has strong hands. He has violent hands, but they do nothing. Like they do nothing. He has no pass rush moves at all. Not even spin move. He's got an inside move a little bit. He has speed, it has strength. Doesn't have any high qualities of those. It doesn't have high speed. It can't
And
can't
and
be
I do want to
defined as a
say,
speed rusher.
potential is a weird thing to judge for any player, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't argue with anybody if they say, all right, he has a potential to be somebody good at the NFL level. Because I'm like, yeah, Georgia did use like Georgia's defense is almost an NFL defense. That's how hard it is to learn. That's just how complex it is, and they use them like a lot of times on the inside, and they use them, sometimes dropping back and
They
whatnot.
do. They
So
do.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe it's just because he didn't have a chance to shine. But
I'll
the
be
few times
honest.
he did, he was out there as the edge rusher. He just didn't do anything that good.
I'll be honest with you. I really think, and that's one of the notes I really wrote down here too. If I go back to my Trayvon Walker notes, I wrote that the scheme probably doesn't help him very much. Obviously the Georgia scheme, like you said, is
Yeah, that's
very
what I'm saying. Like
complicated.
sometimes
It's
maybe it's a result of him not getting enough
Right.
opportunities.
And they have him on contain a lot. They have him covering a lot. I don't think he's a terrible coverage guy. Just don't think he maybe his best skill set or what he should be doing in the NFL. But you look at Trayvon Walker and he has good length, but and it has good like a good build to him that he's not a speed rusher weighing at almost 270 pounds. He looked like he could be, but not a speed rusher and not a power guy either, not a finesse guy. He's just not any of those things. He's a mixture of all, a jack of all trades, master of none. That's exactly what he is. Jack of all trades, master of none. It was very hard for me to like him. I'll be honest with you, especially when you're looking at Jordan Davis, especially when you're looking at a guy like Devontae Wyatt on the inside. Like these guys were constantly forcing pressure from the inside, and Trayvon Walker, relatively doing nothing. He was getting pushed around a lot, even though he's supposed to be one of the stronger guys in this NFL draft. I felt like he was pushed around a lot. His production was okay. I don't look at stats a lot, but his production was okay. That people are out here saying. I know Carl Loftus had 4.5 sacks last year. Don't get me wrong.
All right, let
I
me
know
let me
Carl.
say two things
I
real quick,
get
right?
that.
Because I got into
Uh-huh.
I got into on Twitter as well with this really annoying dude on Twitter, man. Always, all this dude does is just comment whenever it's a disagreement. That's it, right? Like I hate those people. It's
Mhm.
like, bro, just leave. But he brought up the Carl Loftus production thing, and I'm like, that's a valid point because it's true. He didn't have great production at the college level, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be terrible at the NFL level. And I brought up I brought up one specific player. I brought up Daniil Hunter. When Daniil Hunter was at LSU, the man did not have any production at all. Did Daniil Hunter come to the NFL and have no production? No, he's one of the better edge rushers in the NFL. Somebody
Right.
else that didn't have that had little to no production at all at the college level was Chandler Jones. When Chandler Jones came to the NFL level, he's also one of the better edge rushers. Sometimes production doesn't mean everything, stats don't mean everything. You got to look
Mhm.
and see what they're actually doing technique wise, what they have in their bag and stuff like that. And this is when I'm
Mhm.
not trying to turn this into another George Karlaftis stream because a lot of people are annoyed by me talking about him because I really do think he doesn't get enough credit like he should get. But getting back to Trayvon Walker, we have, and I tweeted this out, and it didn't necessarily get backlash, but I know people disagree with it, which is that Azeez Ojulari is the best edge rusher out of Georgia in like the past 5 years, and I don't think it's close.
Agreed.
It's
Agreed.
not even close.
Agreed.
Azeez coming out of college is way better than Trayvon Walker, and right now with a year and 8 sacks under his belt, it's not even close. They're not even in the same stratosphere. Azeez is ahead of Trayvon Walker. Same thing
And they
with
seem to go in
Lorenzo
the second
Carter.
round.
Azeez, yeah, well, he was supposed to go in the first, but the leg
Right.
injury thing made him drop, right? And then of course Azeez was ahead of Lorenzo Carter, no question. And this may be a hot take, but I think Lorenzo Carter was a better prospect coming out than Trayvon Walker is.
Uh oh yeah, agreed, agreed. Well, and Lorenzo Carter. What I don't know. I don't know. I would have to go. Maybe as far as hype goes, no, not even Trayvon Walker has all the hype. But Lorenzo Carter was a second round prospect that had a great combine, and then he got boosted up to the first round, and then he fell to the third round. So it's hard to really tell where Lorenzo Carter really fell in the order of things because he was everywhere. He was mocked as high. I remember specifically he was mocked as high to the Tennessee Titans in the first round one year, and that was like 20. I want to say that's like 26, 27 or something like that. He was that high. But as a prospect, I guess you say to transition to the NFL level, maybe Lorenzo Carter was better. He was like a speed rusher tweener guy, but I don't know. But Trayvon Walker to me, man, it's here's my notes for him for Trayvon Walker. I said it has decent speed. It doesn't have elite speed to be like a speed rusher or anything like that. Plays multiple positions, multiple stances, has experience in coverage, can move around decently well for his size. For negatives, he's a bit raw, has trouble shedding blocks. Shedding blocks is a problem. Once he's gripped from the inside of the pads, dude, he can't shed the freaking block. He doesn't know what to do. He just sits there because he has no pass rush moves at all. He doesn't know what to do when he's being held. Um, let's see. I said he gets subbed out on big downs. So that's something I noticed. Although he plays a lot of the snaps, I noticed on like big like third and long situations, where you really need the pass rush to get there. He's subbed out, and that's something I did not like at all. He has high pad level and no bend at all. Like when you go to the NFL, you have to be very flexible no matter what your size is in the NFL, especially if you're playing edge rusher. You got to have that bend, right? The edge rushers in the NFL always use the bend, no matter how big you are, and you got to have a lower pad level. You have high pad level. You have no momentum going into the tackles. You can't get around the edge. You can't bend around the edge. Um, and he has a slow get off. He has a really slow get off for a guy that's supposed to be an athletic freak. I don't see him get off the line as fast as like a guy like George Karlaftis does. Karlaftis gets off the line extremely fast. And even like a Jermaine, like if you could be like a Jermaine Johnson, like I don't think Jermaine Johnson's fast, but he gets off the line pretty well. I don't think Trayvon Walker gets off the line pretty well. I think
Speaking
he's
of
very
which,
slow
like
off the line.
I still have Jermaine Johnson and David Ojabo without a shadow of a doubt ahead of Trayvon Walker. It's not even a
For
question.
sure. For
Not
sure.
even a question.
For sure.
Like the only
For
reason
sure.
we're even talking about him, and this has kind of turned in. I don't want it to seem like a hate stream. Is just that he's being super overhyped for no reason. So it's like you kind of have to temper it down a little bit. And then I see Durant saying, "What if the Eagles draft Walker?" The
Go
thing
ahead.
is with the Eagles, they have three good edge rushers in my opinion. They have Graham, they got Barnett, and they got Josh Sweat. As a
Yeah, they
rotational
don't
guy there,
need
he's gonna be good.
yeah.
But like if they
But
do
they don't
go
need to
there,
go in the first round. Yeah, if they do, yeah.
yeah,
If they
he would
do
be
though,
good
yeah.
because he'll be a rotational piece. Like this is what I want if we're drafting an edge rusher, somebody that's close to the level of Aziz or better, so that we could have two really good edge rushers going
Mhm.
out there. Quincy Roche, maybe he could develop into that, but I'd honestly really, really like to take a shot at somebody in the first round with the fifth or seventh pick. Um, and that would include if somehow, some way, Kayvon Thibodeau drops to 5. I don't see it happening, but if it happens, I'm doing it. I'm pulling the trigger. Or George Karlaftis. And the George Karlaftis, like I said, is not a very popular opinion one right now. But
Mhm.
if I could also see the Giants, and now we're getting really into heavy of what they do with the first and second. If for some reason they don't take an edge rusher with the fifth and seventh pick, let's say we go tackle and some other form of defensive player, maybe corner or linebacker. A guy I was really had my eye on in the second round was Jay Sanders, but he was dealing with some sort of sickness. I hope he recovers because his
Mhm.
combine was terrible and he lost 20 pounds in a month, which is unhealthy. Couldn't keep any
Wow.
food down. So I hope that he recovers quickly in his pro day. He makes up for all of that. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, we're in a like you were saying earlier, we have a lot of good problems right now. If we don't go edge in the first round, how do you see those two picks playing out?
If we don't go edge in the first round, and that's assuming that Aiden and Kayvon are off the board. So I'll just say that. And then as much as I love Karloftis, I'm really, and I thought this was crazy about a month ago, but hear me out. I'm really looking at the possibility of Ahmad Gardner at the seventh. um, because of the possibility of the loss of James Bradbury. And like I said, I I don't as maybe other people do, but I don't like our corner depth right now. I think Julian Love's okay, to fill in if he needed to because he's like a DB. Then obviously you got Darnay Holmes and Aaron Robinson in the slots. We get rid of James Bradbury, I think we're in a world of trouble, trying to fill in that number one spot. Because I don't know if I think Adoree is perfect at that number two spot because he's so much better to play that number two wide receiver. But I don't think he'll be necessarily a liability at number one wide receiver. But I don't think he's going to be locked down at number one wide receiver. I think he's definitely going to be better than the number two wide receiver. So I prefer him at the number two corner spot, and just not having him there, not having James Bradbury there is going to be a huge loss for us. And I don't know how you can go out in free agency and get yourself a corner that's going to fill in James Bradbury's spot with the cap, cap strap that we are. Looking at Ahmad Gardner, man, I'm falling more and more in love with him every day. As far as looking at him on tape and stuff like that, and I'm not going to go that high, but a guy like Andrew Booth is good. If we
Bro,
trade down,
Even Trent McDuffie, if you trade down out of Washington.
right, right. If we trade down and we get a guy like McDuffie, here's the only thing. McDuffie is like a cover three corner. Washington corners are all cover three. This is going back to freaking Byron. What's his name? What's his name? The guy, the corner that plays for Arizona now, whatever his name is. Byron Murphy, Sidney Jones. The list goes on and on about these the Washington corners. They all play cover three. And he's more of a cover three corner. I don't know if that's really what Wink is going to be doing. I think he's more of an aggressive man defense guy, isn't he? Aggressive man defense corner. So I don't know if McDuffie's going to be the right guy there, but I really like Andrew Booth. If we were to trade down and go to like 10 or 11 or whatever, obviously not 11, Washington's there, but go around that range, I wouldn't mind Andrew Booth. there. But I'm really looking at corner for
Yeah.
that seventh pick if we
And
don't get edge rusher. But I'm going offensive line no matter what
mhm.
at 5. I'm making sure I get even Charles Cross at number 5. I would do it if
And
Ikem if
yeah.
Ikem and Neal are not there. I'm going Cross at number 5.
And NPZ Productions. I'm kind of more in line with you. Like me and Kate, we don't have to agree on everything. I do think at least for 1 year, I wouldn't be. I think that Dory would be fine as the number one corner. But at the same time, if you've been looking at my streams for like the past 2 weeks, especially my mock draft streams,
Mhm.
I've also been really, really liking Sauce Gardner a lot more. So I would not be opposed to that. But like at 5 and 7, because KB, you spoke about the corners. If we don't go edge, I'm definitely also looking at N'Kobe Dean or Devin Lloyd at 7 or something like
Mm.
that. Like, just make it happen, man. Get your middle linebacker in the future because Blake, even if he's back for this year, he's not going to be here the year after. We know what the deal is. Get one of those
Mhm.
guys, plug and play without question. And then also, when Blake leaves, them and Takeout could be, the two linebackers of the future. Well, another thing that's kind of fallen out of the loop from the beginning of the offseason to now is two offensive linemen, Tyler Linderbaum, via trade down now. I feel like if we take Tyler Linderbaum, it should always be by trade down because we've spoken about this ad nauseum. Centers are
Yeah.
undervalued. He's going to be there in the
And he's
teens.
fell
Trade
down
down
the
and get him.
draft board. Everybody's
Yeah.
like getting off that high of Linderbaum. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think Linderbaum's pretty much out of contention for us if we don't trade down. And even if we do trade down, I think we would have to trade down pretty significantly for me to like. Of course, like I would probably like you mentioned the linebacker position. I probably emphasize linebacker before I emphasize or try to look at center. So we would have to trade down pretty far for me to say let's go Linderbaum over a guy like Lloyd, over a guy like N'Kobe Dean, Sauce Gardner, Andrew Booth, McDuffie. Like more positional needs. I know linebacker. Everybody loves linebacker, and obviously the Giants haven't drafted a linebacker in the first round since freaking since Lawrence Taylor, right? We haven't drafted
I
a
think it was.
linebacker
I
in the
think it
first
was
round since Lawrence
Carson.
Taylor.
I think it was Carson.
Oh,
It was one of
Harry
those
Carson.
guys from the '80s linebacker group. It was
Yeah,
one
well,
of those.
I think Harry Carson came first. So I think it was Lawrence Taylor. I don't
Oh
know. I
no,
could be
Carl
wrong.
Banks. Carl Banks. That's who it
Carl
was. It
Banks.
was
Carl
Banks.
Banks.
Yeah.
Okay, so Carl Banks. Okay, so it's been a while. It's been a while. I know a lot of people were talking about that a couple years ago when the whole like Leonard Floyd situation in that draft. But I don't know if it's more important than getting a corner or I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But
No.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
I heard. Go ahead.
yeah. But I linebacker corner center. I don't think we could prioritize center over a linebacker corner.
And then of course, I mean that's really about it, right? We're talking about trade downs. For me with the trade down scenario, it could go either way. It could be you take your offensive tackle and then you trade down 7. It could be you take the defensive player of your choice and then you trade down at 7 to get another offensive lineman. I would take a shot at Trevor Penning if we trade down to get him. I would take a shot,
Where where
obviously.
where would you like if you traded down
Well,
to what
for
spot
my
you would
trade down
trade?
scenario or like for any of them, I do not want to go anything past like 17 or 18.
So yeah, I agree with you. And Durant, Kiwanuka was a first rounder, but Kiwanuka was the defensive end. We were in the 4-3.
Yeah, no, like the last person that was officially listed as a linebacker was Carl
Carl
Banks, which is
Banks.
kind of crazy to think about. I don't know. It sounds
Mhm.
fake. I know it sounds fake, but it's
I know,
true.
I know, I know. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it,
he
it
was a
is what it is.
linebacker D end hybrid. Yeah, but he was at the end. He wasn't a linebacker.
And then let me see. I,
And, I,
I
and I'm more
think
so
that's
and I'm
about
more so
it.
talking off ball guys too. I'm more so talking off ball.
hmm I really do think that's about it in terms of the stuff that was going on this week. I feel like I'm
Mhm.
missing some because it's just been such a big week. So you know what? I'll pose a question to you.
Mhm.
That got posted to me last night on the call-in show, which was teams that could kind of blow it up a little bit, right? The Tennessee
Mhm.
Titans, man. I don't think they're going anywhere with this core. I think they've hit their ceiling. Should they blow it up?
Man, that's a good question. I think it'll be. I don't know what you would have to look at their contracts, like what their big contracts, and see
Because
how they
remember,
can blow it
Tannehill
up.
signed back in like 2018 or 2019, and that was like a 3-year deal. So if it's not up now, it's gonna be up like very,
Yeah,
very soon.
soon. They just signed Harold Landry to some crazy money that I don't think he should get. But and they have Bud Dupree. I don't know how hefty his contract is. Um, Maybe they can blow it up, but I don't know. Like they still have a team where they can still compete, but they still have to find their
Let's
another
keep it real, bro.
quarterback in the
Tannehill is
future.
holding him back.
It definitely is, definitely is. I don't think Tannehill is terrible, but definitely not gonna, I don't think Tannehill really is gonna take them anywhere. So I don't think they should
They
blow it
need.
up necessarily. I
So
think
then,
just
who, bro?
they need to
Who's on
pick
the
around
market,
and kind of plug in
bro?
holes.
Who's on the market to be an upgrade from Tannehill? Is Jimmy G an upgrade from Tannehill?
Oh, that's a hard one. They like play the
Hey
same.
man, but Jimmy G wins more games, and as
He
crazy as it
does,
sounds, he's been
but he
way
gets
more
hurt.
clutch.
You
He's been
have
way
to get
more
a backup
clutch.
quarterback for Jimmy G. You have to get a backup quarterback. He gets hurt all the time.
I
So
mean, then get a backup QB, right? It's not like it's a giant situation where a backup QB I think would be legitimately threatening Jimmy G's job. But one thing I think he definitely has over Tannehill is that he wins more games and he wins more big games, which once again is a crazy thought, but he's more clutch. He is more clutch than Ryan Tannehill, in my opinion. And then speaking of Jimmy G, bro, I could see him being the guy that ends up on the Colts.
yeah, he's definitely a guy that can definitely end up on the Colts. And I that's the thing, man. It's like the Colts. To me, it's a downgrade. Jimmy G from Carson Wentz. To me, it's a downgrade, and you give up a first round pick, and now you acquired a bunch of second round picks. What is that going to do for you now in this window that you have to win now? Like the Colts for a long time were rebuilding their team. After with Andrew Luck, they were trying to
And then
rebuild
Andrew
and
Luck
build up
retired
their.
because he
And then
got
Andrew
injured
Luck
way too many
retired,
times.
so they had to kind of compensate for that, but they still have a great offensive line that's not going to be there forever. They have a young defense that is absolutely dominant. That's not going to last forever because they're obviously going to be free agents and guys coming off their rookie contracts. They don't have, man, the window is closing, man. The window is closing, and they screwed it up. They done goofed, bro. We all acknowledge that they probably made a mistake getting Carson Wentz, but you have to stick with it. You got to stick with it. You can't just say, "Oh, I made a mistake," and let's make another mistake. You got to stick with it. Especially you just lost a first round pick, man.
And then I know this is gonna be the third team I'm placing Jimmy G on. So with this third one, I want you to tell me which one was the best one I suggested here. The Steelers could be another team that he ends up going to. Which, if he goes to the Steelers, I'll say this: I could see them as legitimate Super Bowl contenders because for the past 2 or 3 years, the Steelers have been literally held back by terrible quarterback play,
Right?
not
Yeah,
average
for
quarterback
sure.
play, terrible quarterback play. Let's not forget when Mason Rudolph was their starting quarterback, they went eight
Oh
and eight, bro.
God,
That Steelers defense,
Mason
it's crazy to
Rudolph.
think about. It's low key underrated. They are beyond dominant. They just need average or above average quarterback play, and they're in it, man. People forget that
Yeah, Pittsburgh, and you actually bring up a good point because every time I think about Pittsburgh, I always think of just underwhelming performances, but
because of Big Ben, bro.
because of Big Ben, and that makes a lot of sense. So I mean, we'll see what happens. Like I'm not a big Jimmy G guy. That's the problem.
So
I'm not
that's
a,
what I was saying. Like, I
you
didn't mean
know.
for it to turn into a Jimmy G thing, but he's like one of the very few QBs still on the trading market. So, like, out of those three teams, Tennessee, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, which would be the best fit?
Uh, I'd say Tennessee, just because they're used to that type of quarterback play with Tannehill. Not, I honestly think I don't think Jimmy G. That's where we agree. I don't think Jimmy G takes any of those teams to the Super Bowl. Um, you know what? Maybe because he did it with the 49ers, and he got close last year as well. But the 49ers are a much better situation than any of those teams are. Tennessee Titans are
I
probably a
think
better
Pittsburgh
team.
comes really close, man. They
They
especially
come
with the
close because they have,
like on the defense they're matched in without question in my opinion.
yeah.
The offensive
Hmm.
side, you could definitely say that that the 49ers have better weapons. But
Hmm.
how big is the gap then I guess is what you'd be asking.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I don't
And
know,
then now
dude.
let's talk about. Oh, go ahead. What you guys say?
I'm just a quick side note, dude. I'm just looking at a bunch of mock drafts to kind of like just get on an opinion for other media sites. Dude, Walter Football has the worst than CBS could ever dream of.
Which
The
is crazy because a
worst
couple years ago,
mock
Walter Football
draft.
were the dudes, bro.
I loved Walter Football. I worked with Walter Football on that website that I was on for a couple of months.
hmm
But I worked with them. I know them. Walter's a freaking good guy. But damn, he's got Drake London going number 2 to the Lions. I don't, dude. I'm getting off this website, dude, because I might lose brain cells. But
Listen, you know we just got off Trayvon Walker, but Todd
yeah, he
McShay
went number 4.
Todd McShay did what Daniel Jeremiah did earlier in the weeks. I think it was last week, which is had Trayvon Walker at 5 and Garrett Wilson at 7 for the Giants. And if that
Oh my
happens, I'm done.
god.
I'm
Oh
ending the
my
stream.
god.
By the way, guys, make sure you tune into us. I think this year will be on my channel for round one.
Yeah,
Last
for
year
the first round.
we did KBs. Listen, if that happens, I'm ending the stream at pick 7. You're not seeing my reaction or brief analysis or thoughts or whatever for anybody else. If we take Trayvon Walker at 5 and Garrett Wilson at 7, bro, I'm taking a
Dude,
hiatus, a very long
dude,
hiatus.
I can't. Why am I seeing? I'm looking at every mock draft. They got Trayvon Walker in the top 5. Dude, what does anybody watch film? Like, does anybody watch film at all? Does anybody watch film? Is the question.
I think, well, at least with like the reputable guys, I feel like they're really just doing it for clicks. Like, sure, like Daniel Jeremiah is one of the
They
best
got
scouts
to
out
be.
there. I
I
do
love
not
Daniel
believe for
Jeremiah.
a second that he believes that Walker is a top 5 player. It just does not make sense, bro.
Oh my god. And I don't expect to like agree with everybody's picks, but when they're outlandish like that, bro, you cannot tell me Trayvon Walker is even close to a top 15 player. Like in any draft. In any draft. I know this isn't the best class, right? This draft is kind of underwhelming, right? They got some superstar potential talent. Like Kyle Hamilton, I think is gonna be a superstar. Aiden Hutchinson, I think is gonna be a superstar. I'm not even sold on a guy like Evan Neal. I have not Evan Neal going number 1, but I still don't I'm not sold on Evan Neal. I don't think there's a lot of superstars in this draft, but Trayvon Walker, even in a draft like this, is not even top 15 in my opinion. So, I mean, that tells you. Think about it. Think about a talent filled draft. Go to 2014. Besides the quarterbacks, that draft was everywhere full of talent. Trayvon Walker would be a freaking fourth round pick in a draft like that. Oh my gosh, man. Listen, only time will tell. Only time will tell when number 1 when he's drafted and number 2 when he's actually playing, right?
Hmm.
So, we'll get the confirmation where he's drafted, and even if we don't, if he is drafted in the top 5 or even close to where we think he shouldn't go, we'll see in the NFL if he's actually worth that, cuz that's just crazy. I cannot believe how many people have this guy going that high, man. I just can't believe it.
And there was somebody else I had in my mind that was on the trading block for quarterback specifically, other than Jimmy G, and now I can't remember for the life of me. There was one other person, Kirk Cousins. That's who it is. Somebody in the chat
Oh,
said
hell no.
Minnesota is blowing it up. I don't know if they're blowing it up, but I think the Kirk Cousins experience has ran its course. It's been like what 3 or 4 years since he was there. So I mean, well, first of all, Kirk Cousins or Jimmy G. First of all, who do you think is the better quarterback?
Kirk Cousins. I like
So
Kirk Cousins.
so I'll pose the same three teams to you: Tennessee, Pittsburgh, and the Colts. If
Yo, if
those are
Kirk if
kind of
if
landing spots for him,
if
which one
Kirk
is the
Cousins
best?
if Kirk Cousins goes to the Colts, they're gonna light it up. I'll be
Okay.
honest with you. They're gonna freaking light it up. I know the Colts don't have a receivers like Justin Jefferson or Thielen, but they got some stuff to work, and they can definitely go in the draft and go get some guys like that. But I think Kirk Cousins to me went from like a game manager dude to a guy that's can can win games with his arm. Like I think I like Kirk Cousins a lot. I know he has that prime time thing with him, not winning prime time games and like choking sometimes, but I don't know. I like Kirk Cousins a lot, especially statistically. I'm not a big stats guy, don't get me wrong, but especially statistically, he looks really good on stats. And when in regular games, not primetime games, regular games, he lights it up, man. Just he puts the ball where it needs to be for Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. Those jump balls, I think he gets it done, man. I
No, I agree
really
with you. He's a
respect
better
Kirk
quarterback
Cousins.
than people give him credit for. And
Mhm.
definitely Hazelnut, I could 100% see him staying with the Vikings. This is in a situation where they I guess elect to blow it up because like I said, as good as he is, I still think it's run its course. I don't think that core is going anywhere. Like remember what I said with the Titans, a team that should probably blow it up because I just don't see that core going anywhere. I see that for the Vikings as well. Maybe hit the reset button there. I'm not sure what you guys could do because I don't think they're 1 or 2 steps away from being a Super Bowl contender. They're like a good several steps away. So we'll see what happens there.
Bro, I don't want to scare you, but I'm going through so much mock drafts right now, and every freaking one has us taking Trayvon Walker either a fifth or seventh. I will cry. I will visually cry if we take Trayvon Walker, another Georgia Bulldog edge rusher. I will cry. I mean, I love Aziz, don't get me wrong, but I will cry if we take Trayvon Walker. The Giants are just a landing spot for Georgia Bulldog edge rushers, aren't they? Aren't they? Oh my God. Oh,
I
I What do we?
I don't know what I'll
What do
do,
we?
bro. I
I'm
don't
gonna
know what
pull a
I'll do,
Jabril Peppers. I'm gonna pull a Jabril Peppers. What do we need him for? What do we need him for? Oh my god.
bro. I
We're just trying to replicate the Georgia defense at this point,
I'm telling
right?
you, we have the best one in like the past 5 years. There's no need to go get a mid one.
Mid, extremely mid. Think about how the value. Think about what team would we be, Kush? What team would we be to get a Georgia Bulldog who's better than Trayvon Walker in the second round? And then go ahead and go the next year with a new GM who's trying to do things right this time and get another Georgia Bulldog
And that's guess what, bro?
45 slots
That's why I'm
before
trying
we draft the Z.
to hold out hope that it's not going to happen cuz this is supposed to be a way better front office and evaluation and everything, man. That's all I got to say. Oh,
I will be
please
on the
don't take
cancel
Trayvon
Joe
Walker.
Shane. I will be on the freaking fires Joe Shane, cancel Joe Shane bandwagon if we get Trayvon Walker. The moment I see it happen, the moment I see Roger Goodell say Trey, it doesn't even matter. Trey.
Watch the trade turn into trade and the Giants trade down.
Trade. Oh my gosh, man. I can't. Listen, if the Giants draft a Bulldog every year, I want it to be Devontae Wyatt in the second round. How about that? Devontae
I don't
Wyatt,
think
if
he's
he
going to be in the
slips.
second round.
I mean neither, but I'm
Give me
holding
George
down hope.
Pickens.
Ooh, good. Yeah, good idea. Good idea. In the second
Right?
round, I dig it.
George Pickens
I
in the
dig it.
second, I would do that.
Or if he falls to the third, if he possibly falls to the third, there's a lot of wide receivers in this draft. You know, good players fall, man. Good players
Yeah.
fall.
And like I said, there's usually a player that I want every year for the Giants. In 2020, it was Andrew Thomas. We got him. I was super happy. I'm like an Andrew Thomas stan. In 2021, it was Azeez Ojulari. By coincidence, another Georgia Bulldog. We got him.
Yeah.
I'm super happy. I'm an Azeez Ojulari fan, and I really think he could develop into something great. This year, guys, it's not a Georgia Bulldog, and it's certainly not Trayvon Walker. If anything, it's two guys that are probably not going to be there. It's Akeem and it's Kayvon. And then after that, it's a guy that not a lot of people like. It's George. So it's
Cash Money says if we get Walker, I'm being a full-time college football watcher.
I don't even watch college football. This channel's
neither.
becoming a Knicks channel, bro. Listen, I'm watching the Knicks all day,
And
every
the Knicks
day.
suck.
They suck. They're in the same position we were. They need to fire Thibodeau and they need to start the young guys because RJ Barrett, like since the new year has begun, this man's been going off.
Yeah,
and then
he had a
the
little
winning
bit of a
streak.
slump a couple days ago.
Yeah, but the winning streak that they're on right now is because of all the young guys, and Tibbs just won't play the young guys. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, I think that's about it. Unless you got anything else to say, unless there was any other like players at the combines that we sort of need to temper expectations about. I feel like it was really just Trayvon, and that was it.
Yo, Duran brings up a good comparison, dude. Drafting Trayvon Walker that high is going to be equivalent to drafting Cleveland Farrell that high. Like, Cleveland Farrell had hype as being possibly the best edge rusher in that draft, but no one ever thought that this guy was going to be drafted number 4 overall. Dude, if we draft Trayvon Walker 5th or 7th, oh my God. Oh, God. That might be the worst. Oh, my. Remember how we used to argue about who was the biggest bust? Whether it be Corey, what's his name for the Titans, Corey whatever, the wide receiver,
Corey Davis, but Corey Davis is still good.
I know, or Isaiah, whatever his last name is, the one that we have now. We always like debating on who was the worst, bust. It's gonna be Trayvon Walker. It's gonna be Trayvon Walker. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. I'd rather draft Jermaine Johnson at high. How about that?
Yeah, like I said, I have Johnson, Ojabo above him. Like my edge rankings, I said it last night, but at number 1, I don't
like Ojabo like that, and I still would get Ojabo over.
Yeah, at number 1, obviously I got Aiden. Number 2, I got Kayvon. Number 3, George Kalafdis. Number 4, Ojabo. Number 5, Jermaine Johnson. Trayvon Walker is probably my number 6, but I'd still consider putting maybe like a guy like what's his name, Inigbe out of is it South Carolina State or North Carolina State? The edge out of there. There's a couple guys that I would consider putting above him without a doubt. But KB, I mean, like I said, man, unless that's it, we're going to end it out right here, man. I want to give a big shout out to everybody in the chat. We got 65 strong. Make sure you hit that like button as we're about to close it out. If you have any last questions or thoughts that you want to share that we could address, drop them right now, and we're going to get them done. And KB, man, I'm going to let you close it out, though.
I mean, all in all, great stream, everybody. I feel we had a lot to talk about. I think we got a lot covered too. We talked about, all the situations in the NFL right now as far as all these players moving around and how it's going to affect the draft. And we talked about the draft heavy too as well. Really good stream. Really enjoyed it. Um, it makes me look more and more toward free agency and the draft. So that being said, on my channel, I have been pretty not active on my channel, but gonna be releasing some New York Giants content. I got like 2 videos lined up for this week. And then obviously I got the New York Giants 7 round mock draft, and then my actual mock draft coming out soon. So be on the lookout for that. And then obviously, guys, next week 9:30 Eastern Standard Time on a Wednesday, will be on my channel for the next episode of the Young Guns.
And Namar coming in clutch with a last minute question here. He says, "Who do you guys think we should get for tight end?" Great question. We mentioned Mo Alley Cox earlier. If you're looking at a veteran or somebody cheap, a nice option there. Obviously, I don't think he'd be a full-time starter. You'd rotate him with somebody else. If I'm looking at the draft, based off of my mock draft, you guys know I love Jake Ferguson in the 4th or 5th round out of Wisconsin. I also like Jeremy Ruckert out of Ohio State. If they want to take somebody higher, I'm looking at Trey McBride, because if you're going to take a tight end high, I might as well go for one of the best, if not the best guy.
Trey McBride. He's gonna be like the Fryermuth of this draft. Honestly, he's gonna be drafted. He's not gonna be drafted in the 1st round because Fryermuth wasn't, but he's gonna be drafted 2nd round, and whoever gets him is gonna get a really good tight end. I think he's a fantastic blocker. Trey McBride's a fantastic blocker, and he's an athletic tight end. So, I like him. I like him.
So I mean, yeah, that's about it. Am I looking for a wide receiver in the first 3 rounds? Personally, no. If they do it, I wouldn't be angry. I think you could get a good rotational wide receiver that could be, wide receiver 3 in the 4th round. With this draft, not just the edge, but I'd say the edge, the linebackers, and the wide receiver groups would be like in that order, the most deep groups right now. Like I think you could get and tight end even, because Trey McBride, he's the best tight end, but he's probably not going till the 2nd or 3rd, as crazy as that sounds. So we'll see.
Yeah. Just like Fryermuth. I thought Fryermuth was a 1st round talent, but just because of how the draft, shaped up, even in our mock drafts, how it shaped up in our mock drafts, he just fell to the 2nd. So he sneaked around in the 1st in a couple of our mocks though. But
and then Cash Money says, how do you guys think DJ? How good do you think he has to be for us to keep him instead of drafting Stroud? Well, not Stroud. I'll replace Stroud with just the best QB, right?
Yeah, I think it's Bryce Young.
Listen,
opinion, but
DJ has to. I don't want to put numbers on it, but it has to be something comparable to like 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. I need to see something that blows my mind.
It has to be better than his rookie year. Like everything.
His rookie year shouldn't even be something that we're using as a bar. Like that's what it is right now.
It's crazy. It's crazy, but that's his best season.
Yeah.
It has to be better than 12 interceptions. Like it has to be lower than that. Has to be better than 24 touchdowns. I don't care about the rushing touchdowns too much.
And the reason I'm setting the bar, some people, I've seen some people say that I'm setting the bar too high or it's too harsh, but I'm like, the reason I'm doing that is because he has consistency issues. So it's like, even if that happens, I'm still probably not extending him, because I don't know if he's gonna do it again. We still
gotta see if we're gonna take his 5th-year option. I don't know when the deadline for that is, but
I don't either. But I mean, I wouldn't do it. But yeah,
we still have to see about that. So
I haven't looked into Kyle Phillips yet. Hazelnut, I gotta look into him. But yeah, now we definitely gonna end it here, guys. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for the support. Share it out if you liked it. If you're still here, I mean, hit the sub button, check out Kid Blue, and hit that like button. That's it for now, guys. We're out.